What's going on, my fellow farmer brothers and sisters? Alright, so I'm going to do this video as a little montage. It's not every detail, but it's going to be a little bit of everything of this tractor from start to finish. So in essence, I'm going to make this basically hopefully it's 45 minutes. I don't know, I'm not finished the editing yet. So, but by the time this plays, obviously I'm done the editing. But we're going to try and make this a 45-minute restoration video on a pretty much show quality Farmall 450 gasser. So hopefully you enjoy the video.
melody.
my friends, well, here she is, all finished up, sounding perfect, running really good. Let me spin this around, show you how she looks all done. She turned out beautiful. Paint job came out absolutely pretty much flawless. The whole tractor, everything came out, all the details that I was looking for pretty much came out exactly the way I was looking. And I know I said it before, now I'm trying this with one hand because I got the camera obviously in my hand, but the steps make it so much easier jumping up on this thing. Dash, I mean, everything came out so nice. Let's take it for a little ride. Alright, let's take it for a ride. Okay, so real quick, I'm up here on this tractor. Yeah, I got a cricket in the background, drive me nuts. I've had a few people with thinking I'm riding my clutch pedal. I'm almost 50 years old. I've been driving stuff with clutches. I've been driving 162-inch S&W dragsters, from muscle cars, you name it. I don't ride my clutches. So let me just put this camera down here on my foot, kind of show you what I do. Since apparently I got to explain why I do it. There's a difference between riding the clutch and resting your foot on a pedal. If you don't know how to rest your foot without pushing a clutch, then you shouldn't be putting your foot on that clutch at all. I can put my foot on the clutch without pushing the clutch in. So let me switch this down to the floor. Okay, so yes, my video, you'll see my foot like this. See how that clutch pedal? Look, see my shoe is bent, but look, watch when I take my foot off. The clutch pedal's not moving. You physically have to push the pedal forward to be riding the clutch, even a little bit. You have to really be pushing this clutch like that to be actually riding the clutch. So, see how you have 1.25 inches of travel? My foot's resting there. I'm not even touching that 1.25 inches of travel. There's the travel, my free play right there. It's not moving. That's how I drive. The reason I keep my foot on that clutch pedal at all times is because we have a lot of cars that shoot up our road kind of fast sometimes. There's kids, there's animals. If something runs in my path, I want to be able to disengage quickly. Yes, I can bring my foot up and disengage, but my foot's already there. And I'm not pressing my pedal at all. There's pushing, there's resting. So I just wanted to clarify the difference between riding a clutch and resting your foot. I really didn't want to have to make this video, but apparently I do. Anyway, hopefully that clarifies this for a lot of people. Alright, let's get back to the video. Alright, so as you see, she drove flawlessly. Except for, I didn't connect I set the battery deposit terminal down, but I didn't tighten it up. So unfortunately, when you're not running a magneto and you're running battery ignition, and that battery terminal accidentally pops off, it loses all power. So yeah, I realized that after I did that, but hey, you know what? If that's the only problem I had running it, I'll take it. That's an easy fix. Put it back on, tighten it up. But yeah, she drove really good. I was able to get, I had 3 leaks in this thing after I got it all finished. One was coming out of the front housing of the belt drive. It was actually leaking around the seal, so I had to take that off. As you saw in the last video, when I pulled it off, I had to fix it. One axle seal was leaking, started dripping on me, and the seal underneath, and I'll show you that, actually started leaking, so I had to make that. But other than that, the only thing also, somebody brought to my attention, which I thought about it, but you know, I kind of left it in the lap of the people who were selling. It wasn't Pertronics themselves, it was somebody selling for them. They gave me some misinformation. And yes, one of my last videos when I did show the electronic ignition, I did put the 6 ohm coil in there. It shouldn't have been 6, it should have been a 3. But I went by what they said, and they said, oh yeah, 6, you're fine, you can run that. You know, once somebody asked me about that question, and I started thinking about it, I'm like, yeah, 6 ohm does seem like a lot, but let me find out, see if it'll be okay, if it'll hurt it. So I went ahead and I wrote over to Pertronics directly, and they said, yeah, it'll run, but it'll probably burn out the ignition coil pretty quickly, the electronic device, so you should run a 3. So I did swap it to 3. So thank you for bringing it to my attention and made me think about it. I've never run the electronic ignitions on these things. This is the first time running it between this and the diesel. So you know, I learned just as well as you guys did, but I tell you one thing, I love them. Oh my God, that electronic ignition and that coil starts this tractor up fast. I would definitely recommend, after going through all the points nowadays, because the points are junk everywhere you buy them at, unless you buy new old stock somewhere, which most likely if you buy new old stock, very slim to none, you're going to find any more out there. And the ones they make now are just, they burn up. You know, the tractor can backfire or sneeze and it'll burn them up. So yeah, definitely recommend that. Let me see, what else can I think of? Well, let me just go ahead and walk around. I'll kind of show you all the little details of it. All right, so I mean, really, starting from the front, you know, it's got the Schwartz wide front on it. And I know a lot of people don't like the Schwartz. I have a Schwartz, I have a standard IH front end, and I do have a Norden front end. I know a lot of people like the Nordens because they turn really, really tight. And the Schwartz are like the second runner-up. And the Speedco is pretty good too. But they frown upon the original IH front ends because of the turning radiuses and I guess a lot of parts breaking, things like that. I actually like the Schwartz. I think it actually turns quite well. I mean, I can make a U-turn in the road down here with no problem at all. I don't have to back up and straighten back out this thing. And I even have it adjusted out, you know, what, 5 holes. And she turns fine. I don't really have any issues with this thing. So even though this is only like the second or third time taking it out, but I tell you, I like it. But anyway, as you see, the paint job turned out absolutely gorgeous. I mean, the colors, again, are, you know, dead on, off-white with the IH red. And you saw my last videos, you know, this is the Rust-Oleum with the wet look style hardener and everything in it. And, you know, without being cut and buffed, this is just right out from the clear coat. She turned out really good. This is like I said, my pet peeve was the hoses, the wires, everything. I didn't want everything draping down and dripping down. I wanted everything dropping down and out like it's supposed to from the factory. Same with the power steering hydraulic line. I wanted it running vertical behind the starter like it showed in the book, and then up and behind. I mean, to me, that's way cleaner. And yes, I changed up a few things. I changed up the fittings to a newer style. I changed up to a brass T and everything in here because I like the way it looked. And I do have brass plugs showing up, you know, for the fill plugs right here. Here is what I had to take off and reseal. So I had to make the, you know, plate for that. I mean, make the cover and all for it. The gasket, put all that back on there. And drip's gone, as you see, dry as bone. So easy fix. Axle seal, you know, was leaking. No big deal. Took care of that. New axle seal in there. Again, dry as a bone. So, I mean, it happens, you know, little gremlins like that will come out once you get something done, because you got to remember, I didn't really drive this tractor much after I got it running. I mean, really, all I did was, what, fire it up, took it out of here, took it around the front yard, back in, pulled it apart after we got it started. That's really all I did to it. So, you know, for having just those couple issues, no big deal. I don't mind. But yeah, everything turned out absolutely perfect. I mean, the dashboard turned out the color I wanted. You know, it's close to the factory, that gunmetal gray. All the wiring turned out perfect. I really couldn't ask for much more. I mean, I'm sure I could have done a better job on some areas. I haven't found those areas yet, and I mean, not to say I'm like toot my own horn, but hey, I gotta say toot every so often. You gotta admit, the 450 turned out really, really good. I mean, it's to park this next to that Super A, you know, it's gonna look good. I did find a implement socket that I was looking for. I went ahead and I just refinished the one that I got. I think I paid like 12 bucks off of eBay for it, for an original. So I used a brass wire wheel, cleaned everything up real nice, cleaned up all the brass, and then put a polish on it so that way it'll keep the color. And because I didn't want to do it red. And of course, this is for the battery tender that I plug up. Everything's running through the grommet, through there. Heavyweight spring, oh my god, night and day difference. I tell you what, that thing, look at that. That heavyweight spring with that shock. I mean, when I sit on it, you only go to about there. Versus a lot of tractors, you sit all the way down to here. So, again, cannot argue with that. The only thing I haven't figured out yet is the 12-volt warning sticker. I haven't found a picture in a book anywhere if it's supposed to go here, if it's supposed to go here, or if it's supposed to go down here. So I haven't put that on yet. All the other decals, obviously, I have on. Original cigarette lighter, all that stuff's in there. But I haven't put that on yet. But all in all, like I said, it came out perfect. My step makes it so much easier getting on this tractor when you're not holding a phone. This is the belt pulley that I got a hold of, and this was all rusted and this was all grimed up. So I went ahead and I actually put this in the sandblaster, and I did a very, very, very light sandblast across this and got all the paper pretty much clean because it had red paint all over it. And then I went ahead and stripped down the metal and refinished all that, put it all back together. And I think I paid, I don't know, 35 or 40 bucks for the belt pulley. I think it has a little area through the paper back in here. But honestly, even for a show, put it down there. Perfect. I mean, honestly, can't complain. It's not worth having that repapered just for that. Yeah, everything, I mean, you see everything's nice, high and tight. The only thing dropping out is the stuff that has to get to where it has to go. Somebody did ask me about this setup for the tack drive, and these are very simple setups. It's nothing really special inside here. I may do a video when I do the 300, and I'll kind of show this a little bit more in detail. But, you know, you just got the cable, you got the main socket that goes in, runs off a drive gear, and runs off inside this housing. Put a little bit of grease, put that together, push it all in. You know, if you have an issue where the tack's not working, it's either going to be a bad cable, that'll be worn out inside there where the square meets. It might be rounded out inside here. Could be that plastic gear. It's really not much to the tack drives at all. Let me see what else, guys. I think that's really pretty much it. Other than that, except for doing the fenders next, I guess we can chalk this girl up as being done. She's ready for some shows, and I guess now I got to get that drag blade down and refinish that, so that way that can go behind it, because I am going to use it for stuff like that every so often. But as far as like heavy work, I decided to shift gears and not put that bucket on here. That loader's going to go on to the diesel over here. But you gotta admit, she's looking good. Anyway, well, that's it for the video. Hope you guys liked. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe, and share. And then I guess next we gotta do a combo of finishing up the diesel sheet work, so that way sheet metal work, so that way we can get that loader restored and get that on there. And between that and the cub, that's the next two. Finish the diesel, work on the cub as we're doing that loader, and then because we got to rebuild the top end on that cub and replace some seals in it, and do the brakes. I found out the brakes didn't work. I did get it running. I'll pop a video up actually right now. Alright, you see, hear it? I got her running. She smokes a little bit. Doesn't run bad, but the front seal leaks really bad. And you saw in that video that the gas line was dripping. That's because of the ferrules that were on there. They were dripping. That was the first startup, really, I got of that tractor since before the winter. I have replaced that fuel line, so there is no more fuel leaks at all. But that oil leak is just steady, and she puffs blue smoke, you know. So she needs rebuilt. But you know, we'll get her straightened out and get her sounding like this one. So anyway, all right. Well, again, thanks for watching, and then until next time.